Kalupunan, mga pinunot kawal, baba, ta, handa, dala, kalis. Baba, ta! Tanghal! Ta! Kalupunan, tanghal, ta! Kalupunan, baba, ta, handa, dala, kalis. Baba, ta! Mahal na Pangulo, tapos na po ang pag-aalay ng bulaklak. Baba, kalis.
Well, that concludes the wreath-laying ceremony.
Kalis.
The rest of the guests may be seated. In a short while, we'll proceed with the program proper.
Thank you. So.
Ready.
At ngayon, para sa panimulang bahagi ng ating programa, ating dinggin ang mensahe ng ating pinakamamahal na senadora, kakailyan, intayo sa Rabuen, ni Senator Amy R. Marcos.
Hagtugaw kayo. Naragsak ka pa nagkasangay mo, tatang ko, Apo Lakay, Apo Presidente, Ferdinand Edralin Marcos. Naimbang nga aldaw kada kayo amin, kablaawan man, timadaydayaw nga ading ko, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Kenti entero nga pamilya ni Congressman Sandro Marcos, Governor Matthew Marcos Manotoc, Congressman Angelo Marcos Barba, Vice Governor Cecilia Marcos, kenti bokales tayo, Aduti Marcos. Ang ating mga mayor, vice-mayor, ang mga konsehales, ti nagaget nga opisyales, ti entero nga Solid North, ti barangay opisyales tayo, na magsi 6 years na, sana, kung pumayag si Apo Presidente, the NGAs can NGOs, the entero nga provincial government, and General Romeo Browner, Chief of Staff, uniformed personnel, and all the rest who are here, too many friends to mention. Awanen ti maiparbeng abalikas nga ibagak, kas panang rugi ti mensak, kada kayo no saan nga agyamanak ti adu kada kayo amin, agyamanak apo. Agyamanak ti adu ti panagayatyo, Sipud pay idi aging gana kadagitoy apanawen. Ken nitatang ko, ti maingel nga anak ti Batac, anak ti Ilocos Norte, ken ti Ilocanja. Apolakay, Presidente Ferdinand Edralin Marcos. Ngem agpaypayso, agtultuloy si asibibiyag ti tatang ko. Kaditi tunggal maysa agtutubo ngag-adadal iti public high schools kada state universities and colleges ken MMSU nga inrugina akas maysa a probinsyano kagurgura iti Manila. Si bibiyag ni tatang ko kadagiti manalon ken mangalap anatulungan na asapay kuma ang mapabangon tayo manen. Si bibiyag latta ni Apolakay, kadagiti negosyante, nga kalakal, taigid, ti dalan. Rangtay, ti pier ken airport, nga inaramid na. Si bibiyag ni Apolakay, kadagiti kakailyan tayo, a pasyente, doktor, kada nurse, kadagiti ospital na inpundar na. Nang nangruna iti amin, agtultuloy as bibiyag ni Apolakay, ni tatang ko, kadagiti puspuso, iti tunggal maysa nga Pilipino, tunggal maysa nga Ilocano, nga iti anaman arinigan rigat, ken panang aliw. Kas kanya ako, ay Pilipino, taas noo kahit kanino. Naragsak nga panagkaisang mo tatang ko jay langit, happy birthday Batac, happy birthday Ilocos Norte and the solid North. Diyos te agnina, kada kayo amin.
Agyaman kami Senator Amy R. Marcos. Itata intayo denggen ti panangibinglay kadatayo ti mensahe ti mangidadaulo ti probinsya ti Ilocos Norte ken iti panangipaamuna iti madaydayaw a bisita tayo iti kadaytoy a pasamak. Please welcome Governor Matthew J. Marcos Manoto.
Tayong magabigat, Diyos Tiyagnina. Of course, allow me to greet all of the officials here this morning. It's our great honor to welcome you here, back home in Batac, Ilocos Norte, His Excellency Ferdinand Marcos Jr., First Lady Lisa Marcos, Congressman Sandro, Simon, and Vincent, our very own Senator Amy Marcos, welcome back home, ASEC Tony Tabura, General Romeo Browner, Congressman Angelo Marcos Barba, Vice Governor Cecilia Araneta Marcos, and our board members, all of our mayors, vice mayors, and councilors, our dear barangay officials, our uniformed personnel, my PGIN family, those from the private sector, Governor Manuel Mamba, Mayor Myla Ting, Gov. Rodito Albano, Vice Gov. Boji D, Mayor JC D, Kong Faustino D, Kong Solomon Chungalaw, and Kong Mark Coangco. To all of our esteemed officials, very good morning. Of course, today, thanks to the President, we enjoy a special non-working holiday in Ilocos Norte. But as we enjoy our freedom bestowed upon us by the President, let us be mindful of the reason and the history behind this holiday and our recreation today. Well, for most of our kakailian, not for us who will go around later. May we remember, may we commemorate, and may we honor the legacy of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. An Ilocano who rose from humble beginnings right here, originally, of course, in Sarat, but right here in Batac, to the highest position of the land. And always remembered where he came from, always came home to Batac, and always prioritized the Ilocano. And that is the legacy we, together, must keep alive, and the ideals that we must live by every day for the rest of our lives, to put first our dear province and, of course, our beloved country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you the President of the Republic of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you very much, Governor Mati. Please agtugaw tayo po. For your kind introduction and your very memorable word. I'd like to greet, of course, Senator Amy, who has, after a long time, has managed to find time to, in her campaign schedule, kampanya na eh, in her campaign schedule to be with us here today. Ilocos Norte 2nd District Representative Angelo Marcos Barba. Ilocos Norte Vice Governor Cecilia Araneta Marcos. Ilocos Norte 1st District Representative. Up to now, I will tell you the truth, hindi ko masanay-sanay na binabati ko yung anak ko na pero talagang kailangan ng batiin dahil congressman na eh. So, 1st District Representative Congressman Sandro Marcos, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Romeo Browner Jr., the officials and employees and residents of Batac, led by Mayor Alfred Chua. And of course, my greetings would not be complete without greeting our First Lady, First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos. All of the officials who have come here, the mayors who have joined us, the barangay chairman na napakalakas ang palakpak kanina sa suggestion ni Senator Amy, at pag-usapan natin mabuti yan. We are also visited by our friends from Isabela and from Cagayan, and we welcome them once again to Ilocos Norte. Na imbag nga bigat yu amin. Kadagiti padak ken ay etek nga Ilocano na imbag nga bigat kada kayo amin. I always look forward to coming to Ilocos Norte, not only because it is really our home, but also in this special occasion when we commemorate the Marcos Day, which is the day of my father's birthday. And as we have seen, it is his 107th birthday. So it is inevitable when we celebrate his life and we look back and I try to find and try to think, what was it about my father? Ano ba talaga? What was his very important quality that brought him to the greatest heights of political office in the Philippines, but even more importantly, to have allowed him that guided him, so that he could serve the people properly. And I am always reminded of what was engraved in the mausoleo when my father was still buried here. And those of you that have been to the mausoleum will remember that it was one single word, Filipino. And that is the essence of my father. And when I look back, and now that I am in this high office, and many things many forces are impacting upon you, and a decision has to be made. And the guidance that I get, once again, is I always ask myself, what would my father do? What would be his advice? And I remember the mausoleum, and I remember that it says Filipino. And that is the essence of the man. He was a Filipino. He was an Ilocano first, but his whole life was dedicated to the Filipino. His whole life was dedicated to the Philippines. During his first foray into public service after his university and his law school was as a soldier during the war, where he was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to defend his country and his people. And we have seen and heard and read about the heroic deeds that are only now being realized by many of us. I will recount to you an experience that I had recently when I was in the United States. And I was hosted by the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. At ang request ko sa kanila, can I see some of the records about my father when he was working with the OSS? The OSS was a predecessor of the CIA. And they allowed me. They took me to the records room and they started to show me many of the records, the reports that were given during the war that are still secret. And I mean, he was greater than even we realized. The things that he did, the things that, the sacrifices that he made for the Philippines. And I asked the CIA, maaari ba, pakopya ko, iuwi ko. Sorry, it is still classified. And that was the depth of his service to the country. After the war, after liberation, he then entered into politics. He became the 2nd District Representative of Ilocos Norte, and he served for about 10 years before becoming senator and ultimately president. And through that whole time, all that he did was to serve Filipinos. He sacrificed everything. Those of us who are with his family know of that sacrifice. And we, in our own way, were feeling that we also sacrificed because we did not see my father. We did not see my mother. They were very busy doing their work and serving the Philippines and serving Filipinos. And so when I look back now at the life that I have led, and I see what is the guiding principle that I can learn from my father. When things are confusing, when things have become so complex, what is the essence of service that my father taught me? And that is very simple, but not easy to achieve. But it is simple. Be a Filipino, serve the Filipino, protect Filipinos and the Philippines. And from that comes all of the important things that we can do. That guides us, that is the guiding principle. So, although he was always described, especially in his younger days, as the GI, the great Ilocano, he superseded that. And of course, he loved Ilocos, he loved Batac, he loved Sarap, he loved all of you who were with him through all of the trials and tribulations that he went through. But then I suppose he saw the essence as well of Ilocanos. We are essentially, because we are Ilocanos, but we are here in the Philippines. And the greatest service that he could do was to serve the entire country of the Philippines. So if we are to continue on this important legacy that he has left us. What again will be our guide? How again do we know what is the right path to make it better for the Philippines, to make life better for all Filipinos, to make sure that the Philippines is protected, that the Philippines is secure, that the Philippines is going to flourish, that the Philippines takes its place in the community of nations in the world. And I have followed that credo from the very beginning of my term, and I will continue to follow that credo. Be a good Filipino. Be a Filipino that loves your countrymen. Be a Filipino that loves your country, and do everything and sacrifice everything to achieve that purpose, to achieve that goal, that you become a good Filipino and you leave the Philippines a better place than you found it. That is my continuing guide. That is the credo that we should live by. And for that, I will be eternally grateful to my dad for the lessons that he taught us, for the values that imbued in our very souls. And that has served us all well. And so as we go through our daily lives, let us always remember that in the end, we do what we do. All that we do for Filipinos. All that we do for the Philippines. Let us be together in that. Let us continue that legacy of love of country. Let's continue that legacy of love of your kababayans. And I think that if we do that, that we will always be led in the right direction. Happy birthday, Dad. Naimbag kay panang kasangay. And thank you for all that you have given us.
Maraming salamat, Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. At this juncture, may we request our President to grant us a photo opportunity. First, may we call on First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos, Senator Amy Marcos, Congressman Ferdinand Alexander Marcos, Congressman Angelo Marcos Barba, Mr. William Vincent Marcos, and Mr. Joseph Simon